I think we've all been there, realising that we want to change the way we train, knowing that you need a new approach to train to get stronger and to feel better in yourself rather than trying to shrink your body to try and fit a beauty standard. But it can be really intimidating knowing where to start. I am 6 years into my journey now, and I'm also a qualified personal trainer, and I am here to help you. One of the biggest mistakes that beginners make is they tend to go from 0 to 100. So we go from not training at all, not doing any weightlifting, to trying to do 5 days a week, and that's completely unrealistic. So firstly, we need to start where you are. So if you currently don't train at all or don't do any weightlifting, then we'll build up to 1 to 2 days and then build up as the weeks go on. So you could be up to 3 or 4 days in a couple of months, but we don't want to start there. Then one of the best things that you can do is get some coaching. So you could go and see a PT, even if it's just for a few sessions to understand some of the basic lifts, or you could join a class like a CrossFit class, which is personally what I do. To join a CrossFit class, just go on the CrossFit map. There are loads of CrossFit gyms all over the world, and all of them have free taster sessions and on-ramp classes, and they are made for beginners. The coaches there will teach you how to weightlift, but I do understand that it can be very expensive for a lot of people, so I've got some other solutions. There's a whole library of technique videos on YouTube showing you how to deadlift, how to squat, how to do everything with correct form. And the way that you can kind of PT yourself is that you can watch these videos and then video yourself doing the movement to check your technique. Once you've got the correct technique, then you keep that. So it is important that you learn it to begin with, because that will set you up for the best results and you won't get injured. So take your time trying to learn how to deadlift and how to squat properly before you start stacking all the weights on. Personally, I like to go into the gym with a plan, and because I do a lot of CrossFit classes, often the coach has already planned the workout for me and then I get taken through it. In the past, I've also done a lot of fitness plans, and I have my own functional training plan that you can follow if that's something that you're interested in. If you're planning your weightlifting on your own, then you need to think about sets and reps. If you're doing an hour-long session, you could probably fit in between 4 to 6 different movements, and each movement could be 3 to 5 sets. So a set is the amount of times that you would do a number of reps. So say you were doing 3 sets of 10, that would be like 10 reps, and then you take, say, a minute rest, and then you do another 10 reps, take a minute rest, and then another 10 reps. And then if your goal is strength, you would do 2 to 6 reps for each movement. If your goal is hypertrophy, then you would do 8 to 12, and that would be a lighter weight. The 2 to 6 reps would be a slightly heavier weight in comparison to when you're doing more reps. If you're planning your session on your own, maybe look up some of the movements that you want to do and write it all out before you go. Then when you get there, you've got some confidence and you know what you're going to do. If you're trying out these movements for the first time, then maybe just do 2 movements for your first session and don't overwhelm yourself, and then do some mobility, get familiar with the gym environment, and just allow yourself to get comfortable with the movements. We don't need to go from 0 to 100. Personally, my preference is free weights. I've always found the machines quite intimidating, and because they work on like isolation movements and I'm not training for physique goals, they don't really fit with my goals. Whereas with free weights, they feel more functional and they help me train for overall strength, and they also work more of your full body rather than just focusing on, say, your hamstrings. So the basic lifts I would consider learning initially are deadlifts, back squats, front squats, strict press, and bench press. You can do all of those with a barbell, and you can also do dumbbell and kettlebell variations of each of those. We could also add in some lunges, some Bulgarian split squats, and also kettlebell swings, and they would be done with dumbbells or kettlebells. There are plenty of movements there where you could build out a full fitness program, and it would work your whole body and you would start to feel strong and healthy. Don't try and learn all of those at once. Just pick a couple of them that you want to try and learn the technique for those, and then move on to the next one. If you're interested in more of the stuff that I do, which is like complex Olympic weightlifting, then I would definitely recommend going to a CrossFit gym or getting a coach that's experienced in that. But they are so much fun, and these lifts are actually older than any bodybuilding movement that you've heard of. Some people look at them and think they're super dangerous, but they're not, as long as you know the correct technique. And yes, we do use momentum in some of these lifts, and that's what creates huge amounts of strength in your legs. It's the reason I can lift so heavy, is because I have a really good leg drive and I have a lot of strength in my lower body, and that's what Olympic weightlifting works on. And it's also very like mentally challenging, and it's just fun to have a skill that you're constantly trying to perfect and that you'll never actually get there because I'm still trying to learn how to snatch properly, and I'm 6 years in. So the Olympic weightlifting style movements are snatch, clean and jerk, or clean and jerk separately, push press, overhead squat, and you can also do some other complex movements like dumbbell overhead lunges. You can also do dumbbell snatches, dumbbell clean and jerks. Once you start to learn the correct technique for these movements, you can really start to vary vary the program. And when you've got the right technique, you can also fit these into a workout that can work on your functional fitness as well. So you can actually work your cardiovascular fitness at the same time as working on your strength. And that is kind of what CrossFit is like. That's what I do. So for example, you could do a workout that has like burpees, deadlifts and kettlebell swings in it, and you could do that for like 15 minutes, and that would get you super fit and strong. Using free weights can be so adaptable, and if you're really nervous about going into the weight section, you can quite easily do a functional training style workout with just dumbbells in the corner of the gym, and then you can build up to maybe like using the squat rack or deadlifting in the middle of a platform. And that can feel quite intimidating to begin with, but you will totally get there. And honestly, when you do get to that point, it seems mad that you were ever worried about it in the first place. But I get it. The first time I went to a gym, I actually sat in the car for ages really worrying about going in. I was worrying about walking through the door. I was worried what people would think of me. I was worried about being judged, but actually none of that was reality. And 6 years on, I'm happy and healthy, and I'm enjoying my training so much, and I'm so thankful I did it. Now this is super important. You need to make sure you're eating enough, because if you're not eating enough to fuel your performance, you won't gain strength or muscle. This is another huge mistake that people make, especially if they have a weight loss goal or a physique focused goal. They tend to starve themselves or cut out food groups, and that is not the way to go. Even if you want to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, you just don't need to go that low. You need to make sure you're eating enough to build that muscle, otherwise you're not going to see results from your training. Personally, I find performance-based goals much better for me. I struggle with body dysmorphia, so physique-based goals are not an option, and performance-based goals are much easier to track. You know how much you're lifting on the bar, you can look at what the weights are, you can record that. Even when it comes to fitness, you can look at the pace that you're doing on the rower or the treadmill. You can measure yourself off the weights you're lifting, or whether you've got your first pull-up, or a huge range of performance-based metrics. And this doesn't lead to body image issues in the way that physique-based goals can. I have recently realised that the whole fitness industry is basically a lie. It's not really about fitness at all, and I find that really problematic. And as a personal trainer, that is something that I want to change. Watch this video next to find out the full extent of the lie that they're telling you. Thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.